It's time once again for the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. In the next half hour, a recap of the most recent council meeting and a look at some of the great things happening in Maple Grove. All next on the Maple Grove City Report. And thanks again for joining us for the Maple Grove City Report, joined by City Administrator Al Madsen. Welcome, Al.
Thank you, Dave.
He's got stacks of paper for us today. We've got about a 17-minute meeting to talk about that happened here in September, but also a number of things happening around town. Let's do that first. Let's bounce around town. What are some of the things people should know about?
Well, first of all, Alligators is down. Alligators has been in the city for a number of years, and it's a bowling establishment along with the restaurant and a bar. It's been vacant for many years and has been quite an eyesore because the weather has really damaged inside and out of that building.
Right.
And it's just sat vacant for such a long period of time. I was over there yesterday watching them demo the building, and so that's always interesting to watch the demolition of a building.
You didn't get to take a swing at it yourself? Okay.
I was hoping they'd let me in the cab, one of the big equipment, and let me knock something down. But so that is down. Alligators will be replaced by it's a daycare. It's called the Children's Learning Adventure. This is quite a daycare. This is almost like the Children's Museum, the Science Museum. I mean, it's quite an establishment. It's a corporation out of Texas that has a number of these. This is the first one in Minnesota. But the exterior and the interior of it is just going to be phenomenal. And so, building is down, be quite a bit of site work that still has to be done. I do not have any type of opening date. Hopefully maybe in the next few weeks we'll have kind of an indication as when they might open. So,
and again, for people that don't know the location, on the corner of 494 and Bass Lake Road, so obviously a very busy intersection. As far as traffic patterns in that area, entrance to the location will be the same off the cul-de-sac that it has been in the past?
Right. Should not be any changes at all. No,
okay, very good. We'll keep you up to date on the progress of that site.
Omni Brewing, which is a craft beer brewing operation. They opened this past Sunday in Maple Grove. They're located at the end of Deerwood Lane, past the Maple Tavern. It's really an interesting operation. They craft their own brew, their own beer, and in fact we had the item on this past Monday night's council agenda to allow patio seating.
Okay.
Because right now their liquor license does not include outdoor seating. And they have since decided that they would like to have outdoor seating, and so we did modify their liquor license to allow that. So it's an interesting operation. I've been in a distillery years ago when I was in Japan, but this is quite a unique process, and they're very excited. And the craft beer industry has just exploded. So,
and it doesn't really have a restaurant type of look, or even from the outside, you would not know what it is.
That's right.
Unless you went up to it. Is that correct? Is it more of in a warehouse type building?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Right. It's
so for people looking for it, watch out, because you might miss it if you're looking for a restaurant.
Right. They will be having a number of events that will be catered, and so they will be able to have food there, but they're not going to be making any food on site.
Got it.
So.
Okay.
Let me just a couple other things here. And some folks are already aware of this, but over the past couple years, we have, probably 17,000 homes installed new water meters. We haven't encountered a problem with those. Those water meters are supposed to wake up now and then to send a signal and some of them are not waking up.
Aha, okay.
So we're working with the manufacturer, we're working with the company that installed them, and so hopefully to get to the bottom of that. So for those residents that are impacted by it, probably got a letter from us, or we sent them a letter. Just ask them to be patient. We're working through the problem. So it's one of those, we're in the age of technology and everything is electronic. So, but we'll get through it.
So are there still more to come for other residents, and you might be doing some rethinking about which piece of equipment, or again, making sure it works for the new ones?
Well, there may be some more to come.
Okay.
What we installed in the last couple of years, those are the older meters.
Right.
And for example, the water meter in my house is not that old, and so it doesn't have to be replaced.
Sure.
But as time goes on, yeah, we'll probably, if a water meter goes bad, we'll replace it with a new style.
Okay.
So,
okay.
but it's one of those frustrating things that you hope everything goes right, and it's been going right, and then all of a sudden there's some electronic flaw that tells that little guy not to wake up. So.
Okay.
But a couple of meetings ago, we had a project that's called Village at Arbor Lakes. It's by the Dorn companies. It was a combination of high-density residential, retail, hotels, restaurants. And that was to be at the northeast corner of Elm Creek and Hemlock. The council tabled that item for a traffic study. Out of frustration, the developer came to the podium and said he was withdrawing his application. Since, though, we have met with the developer, and the developer has given us an extension of time because we're doing a traffic study. Traffic study should be finished at the end of September, and then we'll all sit down and take a look at that and see how the traffic study will affect his ingress and egress to his development.
Sure.
So,
okay.
But he hasn't withdrawn it.
So discussions continuing.
Yes,
That's
discussions continue. So, so he has given us an extension of time, and again, we'll wrap up the traffic study.
Okay, good.
The council meeting, as you mentioned, was short. We had a couple of items, one of regret. I'm happy for her, but Ginny Nyland, who is in our community development department, Ginny's been with us for 22 years. She is retiring at the end of November, and we're sad to see her leave, but we're happy for her as well.
Right.
So, but she's been just a great employee for us. Many years ago, she was in our assessing department, and then eventually ended up in our community development department. So, been a great addition to the city, and so we wish her and her husband well.
Definitely.
Some bit of good news from the assessor is that the 2016 property values are probably going to remain stable, which means taxes certainly won't be impacted too much in 2017. But the other thing is the Central Park. That is open. We held a ribbon cutting.
Right.
Probably in the next couple of weeks, we should have the playground open, and that will be just a fabulous playground. And so I'll have to get my grandkids from Eden Prairie and bring them up here.
Sure.
So, and then there's that splash pad, which is absolutely wonderful.
Right.
November 1st, we should be completing the ice trail, all the equipment for the ice trail around there. So it's and there's a meeting room there, and there's just a wide range of activities. And that's just phase one. We've got some additional things to do, but already, the Central Park has been a highlight, and it's a huge benefit to a lot of the residential in that area, because you get a lot of multifamily that are in that area, and so they're going to love it. So it was a very, very nice ribbon cutting we had.
For those that might be coming to it from other parts of Maple Grove or from other cities, what's the best place to access it and to park at that location? I know there are a lot of roads through that area, so and some construction going on. So what would be the best way for people coming from other parts of Maple Grove to get in there?
Well, if you're coming from the south part, I would say come up Hemlock and then take a left on Arbor Lakes Parkway, and then take the first right, and then that'll take you in the general area. You'll see the Central Park. You can't miss it.
Right.
Parking there, there will be a number of areas for surface parking. There is no ramp parking.
Right.
But there will be a number of areas in there for surface parking. Street parking is also permitted as well. So, but you can't miss it. Now, if you're going up Main Street, again, you take a right on Arbor Lakes Parkway, or you could take a right where Silver Creek on Main is.
Sure.
You could take a right there and then just go straight east, and you'll see the park there as well. So.
And again, a lot of walking trails around that whole area too. So for people that live even a mile or so away from it, certainly can easily walk to that location.
Right. That's right, absolutely. Silver Creek on Main, that's the senior residential project that's right at the corner of Weaver Lake Road and Main. They're going to be having their grand opening. They've been open.
Right.
Their grand opening celebration on October 3rd. Saturday, October 3rd, and I think that's from 10 until 2, if I remember right. So
okay.
It's a great opportunity for people to go over there, and they'll be able to have some snacks because they have their own chef in that facility.
Very nice.
But just a tour the units. So it's very, very attractive development.
Excellent.
Very attractive. So just to catch my cheat sheets here, just a couple other things. I was able to join Housing for All, which is an organization to promote affordable housing, to tour a affordable housing project in St. Michael. It's by a developer called Sand Companies. They developed 2 buildings in Maple Grove, which we're very, very pleased with. There's a waiting list for affordable housing in Maple Grove of 500 people, and so the need is there. And so we toured the Sand Companies project in St. Michael. Sand Companies is proposing to do a project in Dayton, and so this was an opportunity for Housing for All folks to bring Dayton officials and other people to take a look.
Sure.
At some point in time, I'd like to have them take a look at the Maple Grove Sand Companies project because, again, we have 2 buildings there, both of them rented out just so quickly, and there's a long waiting list. But it's a very attractive facility, and Sand Companies just does a very, very fine job. And speaking of affordable housing, at the last council meeting, we did make an amendment to an approval of a project called Botno Ridge. This is a John Duffy project, and this one is right at the corner of Hemlock and Arbor Lakes Parkway. He had received approval. He's got 50 units there now.
Right.
He's received approval for another 50. He's determined that the market is there for more than another 50. And so we amended his plan, and so now he has approval for another 100. So he would eventually have 150. But the second 50 probably won't be complete. Probably be 2 years.
Okay.
And the third 150 probably would be 2 or 3 years after that. But he does have approval for an additional 100 units on top of the 50.
And they will all be in that same location where the first building is?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it will. Yeah. And John does a fabulous job. He's just very, very good at what he does. So the farmers market continues to blossom, with the exception of last Thursday. We had to cut the market short because of weather, but it continues to do very, very well. And then it won't be long, and we'll be going inside the community center for the farmers market. So our farmers market continues to receive a lot of acclaim from not just our residents, but visitors and even other cities that do farmers market, but maybe at a smaller scale.
Sure.
But Carol and Kirsten, they just do an outstanding job of the market, so I'm very, very pleased with that.
They do.
So, the meeting, as you mentioned, was about 17 minutes long. Everything on consent stayed on consent. We did approve a concept stage plan for a daycare at Garland and County 30 called Kindergarten. And that's about 7,500 square feet, something like that. And that's a concept plan. They'll be coming back eventually for the development stage plan. So we did approve that.
I'm trying to think of that location. I know there's businesses and a parking lot right near that spot. Is there vacant land there, or are they taking some of the parking lot and some of the existing business area.
There is still some vacant land.
There's some
there.
vacant
And
land,
you got
okay.
the Montessori school that is also has a building under construction there.
Okay.
So,
It's hard to figure when you drive by every day
It
and
is.
look at it, can you fit something else in there? And somehow, amazingly, they do.
right, it's like the Bottineau Ridge.
Yes.
When John,
Yeah, I
when
can't
John first
imagine.
approached and said, okay, I got approval for another 50. I'd like to have 50 on top of that. And I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, where are you going to put
Right.
100 units?
Exactly.
In addition, and so, but he found a way to do it,
Okay.
and it's certainly. I don't think it'll look like you're putting 10 pounds in a 1 pound sack. I think that the way John designs things, it'll look like it just naturally fits together. So.
And what is the time frame on the kindergarten site? Do you know what their building schedule would be?
No, the comment this morning was that they would at least like to maybe break some ground in November.
Okay.
We're getting into that time of year when you're facing winter construction, and unless it's absolutely necessary, a lot of businesses really do not like to do winter construction because it pushes the costs up considerably.
Sure.
But if they can at least get the footings and foundation in, if they can get a site graded, they can get footings and foundation in, then in the spring they can really hit the ground running.
Right.
So,
Okay.
we had the photography contest, as you well know. You were one of the judges, and unfortunately, we had AV technical issues, and so we were not able to televise our meeting Monday night. But we were able to show the various photo contest winners on the podium and then transfer it onto the big screen
Sure.
behind the council. And it's great. Those pictures are just, as you well know, being
Right.
a judge, it probably was a little tough.
It was very tough.
Who's a winner, who's not a winner.
Right.
But all of them just are really, really super. And so we're happy that our residents, come forth and do that. And it's just some wonderful photography. So a lot
There
of
was
skill.
great pictures. You can go to the city's website and you can see those winners. And a lot of those pictures, as I understand it, are used throughout the year in different publications. So
Yes.
you might see your neighbors pop up in something from the city.
Yeah,
And that was
absolutely.
a winner in the contest.
Right, that's right. A couple other things on Saturday, I think it's Saturday, October 3rd, from 8 until noon. We'll have, at our public works facility, people want to drop stuff off for recycling. They can certainly do that. Now, if somebody comes in with a big refrigerator or a stove or something like that, there would be a fee. But otherwise, if people have just smaller things that they've been sitting in the garage, or in my case, or sitting in the basement, they can just bring it over to the public works facility, and from between 8 and noon on October 3rd, and drop it off. So,
Okay. And my guess would be on the city's website, there might be a list of
Yes.
some of the do's and don'ts, or accepted and non-accepted, those things that might have a fee.
absolutely right.
Okay.
We just yesterday had a ribbon cutting ceremony for a new business in the Wedgwood Commerce Center. Spectranetics is a medical technology company, very, very fascinating. They've been in business for over 30 years. And they opened up their facility in Maple Grove. Right now they have 35 employees there, but they're anticipating adding, probably doubling that over the next 1 or 2 years. And so we had the ribbon cutting, and then we got the tour of the facility, and then they showed us a demonstration of their product, which is really, really quite fascinating. So medical technology is a strong element.
Yes.
We've had, before it became Boston Scientific, we had SciMed, we got Upshur Smith, we got the hospital, we got a wide range of medical technology companies that are now starting to come into Maple Grove.
Right.
And so
Very nice.
we're very pleased with that. We did have a very short HRA meeting. We had to swear in Councilmember Judy Henson as an HRA commissioner. We took care of that. And then just a comment on the city administrator position.
Yes.
Time is coming close. Because my retirement right now is planned on October 30. We have on October 5th from 4:30 to 6:30 there will be a meet and greet. There are 3 individuals that have been deemed to be the finalists by the City Council. and on October 5th from 4:30 to 6:30 in our EOC at the Government Center. The 3 candidates will be there. Public is invited, boards, commissions, public, anybody is invited to come there and meet the candidates.
Very good.
And then they can provide feedback. They will provide comment cards. So all of that will be provided prior to the City Council making the final interviews on October 7. They will meet and they'll interview again the 3 finalists, and then they will select one of those 3 to be the new city administrator. So that's it. Things move on.
The march is on.
It just seems like 6 months ago I was telling the mayor I'm going to be retiring, and now here it is, at the end of October. So it's coming fast.
All right. Well, it will be a time that I'm sure you will enjoy, to have something a little different in front of you, but I'm sure you'll miss a few things.
Oh yes, very much.
While we have a few seconds, and my thought was we've got about 8-9 minutes. Over the next 3 shows, we should do a little look back at Al Madsen, a little bit of history here. But before we do that,
depends on what pictures you're going to show.
Oh, no pictures,
my
because
pictures.
those are scary. We'll keep those hidden. But before we get to that, I just wanted to ask quickly, I was driving up 81 today and 610 just to get an update there. I was trying to peek over the barriers to see if it's moving along well, and I couldn't really tell, so maybe you can tell us. How are things going with 610?
Moving along very well.
Good.
In fact, I think right now it might be this phase anyway, might be a little bit ahead of schedule.
Very nice.
So we're moving very, very rapidly on it. And while we're talking about transportation, the on-ramp, the 494 on-ramp to go south will be closed, and my understanding it will be closed for the next few weeks. So
that's going to be exciting.
If anybody wants to go south on 494, you're not going to be able to catch the exit, I should say the on-ramp in Maple Grove to go south on 494.
Okay.
And then a reminder, next year MnDOT will start 169 improvements,
right?
And a good portion of 169 will be closed. So it's a constant I guess, theater of construction.
But watch the signs and drive carefully.
Yes, and once the projects are done, it'll be absolutely great. And just one other thing is the Yardway site is not going away. The access to it will be closed off. And so the access to the Yardway site will be along Maple Grove Parkway.
Okay.
So people, if you want, you can come. You can either take a left if you were going to the Yardway site. You could take a left and go down to the next road, take a right, and then come around.
Okay.
But the Yardway site is still going to be in operation. There's a new building that's there for the personnel, and so. People just have to get in their mind that that it's a little bit different access now, but it's still going to be available. So.
Very popular, and this is certainly the big time of the year. It's coming here when the leaves start to fall. You're going to have lots of people visiting out there.
Right.
Well, in our last couple minutes here, let's go back to the very early days of Al Madsen to Maple Grove. So, and you talked about it a little earlier during the show. What drew you to Maple Grove? How did you decide on Maple Grove as a step in your career so many years ago?
Oh, golly, that's a good question. Way back, I was with the Department of Economic Development, and Jim High, who was chairman of our Economic Development Commission and a banker, used to be a banker in town, I'd gotten wind through him that the city was looking for an economic development director. My job with the state was, I'd float around to all kinds of different communities throughout the state, and I thought it'd be nice to land in a community and help develop a community. Because, in my previous job, you'd go in, you'd do your thing with that particular community, you'd leave. But, with Maple Grove, I could see the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, you never see the results, right?
I could see the fruits of my labor. And so I was very fortunate that I was selected to be the Economic Development Director. And then in 1997, actually prior to that, we combined the Community Development Director position and the Economic Development departments
Right.
into one. And then in '97 is when the council asked me to be the city administrator. So it's been a fun ride. I've been very, very fortunate. We have an absolutely wonderful team in this city. It's just I cannot say enough good things about our employees. And we've had strong mayors and council, which has helped me as well. So it's been fun.
And you were no stranger to the northwest suburbs, right? Tell us a little bit about that connection. Before Maple Grove, you might have been seen a time or two in the city of Brooklyn Park, correct? Tell us about that, because you knew the area and you kind of watched Maple Grove begin from next door.
Absolutely. My wife and I moved to Brooklyn Park in 1969, and I kept watching Maple Grove because I just felt that the potential there is tremendous. And I was active in Brooklyn Park's Economic Development Commission and the JCs over there and a wide range of other organizations. And then the opportunity came in 1983 for me to take a look at being employed with Maple Grove. And I remember in '83, I remember my wife saying, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, and I kept telling her, just wait, it'll come, it'll come, and it has. So it's been a tremendous honor for me to just to help help develop a premier city. And again, we have such wonderful employees that it's a whole team effort, not just one person. So.
What do you have as a first memory or two of Maple Grove when you were in Brooklyn Park and you looked over that way to the west? Is there anything that stuck out? What was Maple Grove back then?
Yeah, it was gravel mining. You're in Brooklyn Park and you look to the west and all you see is gravel mounds and you're thinking, well, nothing's going to happen there. You drive through that area, it's all gravel mining operations. And so we're very fortunate that starting in '83, a lot of us worked hard to lay out a comprehensive land use plan for the gravel mining area. And that was very, very nice. And then also it was very nice that toward the end of the '70s, our engineering staff worked on elevations and transportation plan, because we knew at some point in time the gravel mining is going to subside.
Right.
And so the thing was to try to be prepared for that next phase. So, but yes, when I looked to the west, it was just gravel mine, and big trucks, and that was it. So,
how about first people that you met in Maple Grove? As you think back in the early days, were there a couple people in the community that stood out to you that you got a chance to meet in the early days?
Well, former Mayor Dick Reimer. I met Dick, and then Jim High and Ed Line. Those individuals I got to meet, and really, really enjoyed my association with them. And former Mayor Reimer has passed away. Jim High, I think, is enjoying the sun in Arizona.
Good for him.
And Ed Line still is, his blind nurseries is still going on in Maple Grove. So, those three stand out. And there's a number of other individuals. Joel Princeton was a very, very strong businessman and just a good guy to get to know and to work with, and lots of other people.
So who was the mayor and who were key people on the council back when you were hired?
Mayor Dean.
Mayor Dean okay.
Yes. And I was really hoping that Mayor Dean could be at my retirement. He hired me. I was hoping that he'd be at my retirement. Unfortunately, Mayor Dean passed away a couple weeks ago, and it's a tremendous loss.
Right.
He's just one of the nicest guys you could ever meet in your life. So,
and any on the council that you remember back that were involved in the hiring of you?
Oh yes, Don Ramstead, Chuck Dean, Dave Burtness, and Donna Ryan. So yeah, I remember that.
And you had them all convinced that you were the perfect person that was going to be here for 30 plus years, right?
Well, my understanding was there were 7 candidates for the position.
Okay.
And I didn't realize this, but I was told that I was a unanimous choice. But one thing I do remember is at the end of the interview, I did tell them that this beard is not permanently attached, because you never know if they like an employee with facial hair or not.
Okay.
And so, because none of the council members had that. And so I told them that, the beard is not permanently attached. If you want me to shave it off, I would shave it off. Fortunately,
they let you keep it.
Right. It's just become grayer. That's it. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, it's been a pleasure for us to work with you. And this is the end. We still have a couple more shows to go. So we're going to step into the next section of Al's time with the city. in our next program. So Al, thanks again for your time
Dave,
today.
thank you.
Let's leave you with some information. That next meeting is going to be Monday, October 5th, 7:30 at the Council's Chambers. You see the information on top for the website. And as always, 533-1710, our viewer response line. Thanks for joining us for the Maple Grove City Report.